Alright, Shalom Israel, Yahweh Shem Yahshua by the thumb, Yahweh Shemar, the thumb by Shem Yahshua. I'm priest and officer of 50 Yedai, holding class down to 12 Shield General Muhammad Gitzid. And let me just say, Israel. Our oppressor just does not know the bounds of his own pride and wickedness. And what do I mean when I say that? COVID-19, aka the coronavirus, is still ravaging through, and he wants to start opening up cities and states. If I could, Georgia just opened up, and they already got 1,000 new cases. Same with Texas, and I believe Virginia is as so. And which is so heavy about it, I just keep thinking about what Cuomo said, the governor of New York City, and what he was talking about, on how he said, the Most High God did not lower the cases of the COVID-19, the coronavirus. He didn't do that. We did that.
Right.
And it just goes to show you that the oppressor really is the devil that the Bible speaks of.
Right.
And if you are Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian, and you claim to know the truth, you claim to be a man or woman of God, and don't understand that the oppressor is doing the same thing that Pharaoh did. Pharaoh told the same thing to Moses. Moses went on to ask if we can go into the wilderness, right or wrong, sir, and go into the wilderness and just worship our power.
That's right.
Pharaoh said, damn, you must have too much time on your hands.
Damn right.
And then when the plagues that came upon Egypt, they are nothing. Like the COVID-19, if I could, is nothing compared to the plagues that happened in Egypt.
That's right.
Fire and hail rained down on Egypt. Swarms of locusts, all type of abominations. Even our Passover that we will celebrate, we will have the Lord's Passover this year. Lord willing, we will have the Most High's Passover. When that happened, when the death angel came by and took them and smote the firstborn of every Egyptian, male, woman, child, even beast, it shows you just how dreadful the Most High God can be. So when Cuomo comes out and says that, hey, the Lord didn't do this, we did this, it just shows Esau's world is crumbling.
Right.
If I could, sir, can I get 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite scriptures. Esau right now is running with it like a chicken with its head cut off. Or when you cut off the head of a snake and how it just bleeds to death and slithers on the ground. It's a glorious sight to see the oppressor in such travail, such trouble. I love it. Because it goes to show you he don't know a damn thing. Not to sidetrack. Didn't Donald Trump tell y'all that if you wanted to cure yourself with a COVID-19, inject Lysol into you?
Right.
Inject disinfectant.
Right.
And I do impressions, shameful impression. Well, he's looking, if I could, he was looking at, the director of health, looking at that she-devil saying, we can, that Lysol, that disinfectant, if you can just inject that in the body, maybe that'll work. That's how you beat the COVID-19. Disinfectant, buy all the Lysol, buy the bleach, the Clorox, the Mr. Clean. That's the best way to beat the COVID-19. And what is so sad about it, show how devilish the oppressor is, there are people that are going to listen to him and say, damn, let me go buy some Ajax, some bleach, and let me go ingest this, and that's how I'm going to cleanse my body of the coronavirus. Not knowing that the coronavirus is a plague from the Most High.
Right.
If y'all dumb Edomites understood, he said it weeks ago, we're fighting against a what? When he says we're, he's talking about him and his people in this domain, this kingdom. They're fighting against an invisible enemy. I wonder who that invisible enemy is that he could be talking about. And then he had the nerve to say, we're smarter than this invisible enemy. But you telling your people to ingest Lysol and disinfectant and Ajax. Your world is coming to an end. You got that for me, sir?
Yeah, 2 Ezra what?
6 and 9, sir.
We in the book of 2 Ezra in the Apocrypha, chapter 6, verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world.
For Esau is the end of the world. What does that mean? Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man and woman, like it or not, we came up in slavery. We came up in spiritual Egypt. Egypt meaning bondage. We are in the oppressor's domain. We're in his world. When you think world, don't think the entire earth. Think about the age and society you were in. A lot of you Christians like to say, well, when Christ walked the earth, guess what? The world that Christ was in, he was in the Roman world, which is the same world that we are still in today, because we're in Babylon the Great world, which is America. And their world is coming to an end. When it says that Esau is the end of the world, these are the signs that are coming, that Esau's world is coming to an end. You see it right now. Their president, their leader, Donald Trump, is telling their people to ingest disinfectant to beat a plague from the Most High. Could you imagine, sir, like during the Dark Ages, you know what I mean, the so-called Dark Ages where we ruled for 1,000 years, when the plague was coming around, right. The Most High was just killing Esau, and they just said, well, if you drink cleaning supplies, my Lord, you might be able to kill the plague. La. That's why the Most High said in Isaiah 47:3, he will not meet you as a man. That's the oppressor's problem. He's so prideful. He's so high up on his own horse. He thinks he can go toe to toe and box with the Most High. You cannot. That's why he told Isaiah, I will not meet you as a man. I'm going to send the coronavirus and I'm going to destroy your entire little world. I'm going to turn your stock market. I'm going to turn your economy. I'm going to turn your people into dogs, into savages.
That's right.
You take away the oppressor's economy and tell them to stay in the crib, sir. They think they're going through slavery. And that should be an offense and a slap in the face to every Black and Hispanic, Native Indian man and woman, man. The oppressor is being ordered to stay in his home to avoid to avoid social distancing with people so they can not contract a virus. They look at that as slavery. Where me and you, we went through actual slavery, actual bondage, where we were being lynched, murdered, raped, and destroyed. As a matter of fact, why do I keep saying used to? We still experience that to this day. But the oppressor has to stay in his home, and he feels though, damn, I got to stay in my home for 14 days? I'm going to storm the Capitol building in Michigan, and I'm going to go in there with my AR-15s and express my American right to bear arms. Come on now. Brother, you can't even play in the park if you're a young Black boy, Tamir Rice, with a toy gun and not get gunned down. Right. You tell the oppressor to stay in his home, he storms his Capitol building with AR-15s and says, I will not take this. You lock a she-devil up for trespassing on a public park, which is supposed to be shut down due to the plague that is coming down, which is COVID-19, the coronavirus. She has a rally, and they go to that officer's house with guns. Esau's world is coming to an end. That's why the scriptures say in 2 Ezra 6:9, for Esau is the end of the world. Read on, sir.
And Jacob is the beginning of it that follows.
And Jacob is the beginning of what follows after. You know what that means? I'll break it down for you. Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man and woman. I know we live in travail. I know we live in hard times. We have been, because we turned away from our God in Jeremiah 17 and verse 4, that we've been disenfranchised from our inheritance, from our culture. But it says, but Jacob is the world which cometh after. We are going to turn back to the Most High in Christ, but the only way to do that is to come to these doors of the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, established since 1969, man, under Commandant General Yohana. We're the only authority of this Bible, of this truth. The world that is coming is going to be greater than anything Esau can ever imagine, because he was never meant to be in charge. Paraphrasing, I believe it's in Proverbs, where when the wicked bear authority, the people mourn. The people are in mourning right now because Esau is head of the world. Right. They ingesting Lysol because they believe that's how they're going to beat COVID-19, sir, which is crazy. But it says when the righteous bear rule, when we bear rule, the people rejoice. When it says that Jacob is that world which cometh after, we are going to have a world, a society over the entire earth that is not going to end under our King Yahweh Shah Mashiach. And this is not the time to be a wicked sinner, black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man and woman. The signs are right here. The first sign that you should have known when your church closed down.
That's right.
You thought your pastor had all the answers, didn't you? You thought he was just so holy, so righteous. Not my pastor. Not my Deacon Jones. That's a righteous brother. He's a man of God. Meanwhile, Deacon Jones is sitting in his mansion right now, looking outside at his multiple cars. You know he got a Rolls Royce off of the Yakwa.
Right.
You know he got that Rolls Royce. You know he got a Ferrari that he paid for with your hard-earned dollars. You can't even pay your electric bill. You can't pay your rent. You at home right now because your job sent you home because your slavery wasn't essential and they had to shut down, and now you're looking at unemployment. That shows you the condition that we get. And then when you think, man, let me go pray, let me go talk to a man of God, and then you get there and you realize their doors are closed. And not just their doors. The Muslim mosque is closed. Your 7-day Adventists, all of them wicked sinners, some wicked bastards are closed, but our doors are open. Don't you understand that they are not essential, but we are? You laughed at us. You turned at us when we were on the corners preaching this word since '69, telling you that the COVID-19 was coming. If I could, sir, let me get Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 61. You wouldn't hear us then. You kept saying, but God loves everybody. You were saying, oh man, the Lord knows my heart. What's my favorite one? We all fall short of the glory. Now, we all fall short of the glory. We all are wicked sinners. But here's the thing. Why hasn't your pastor opened them doors to you yet? Why are they saying Shalom Yah, Shamar, Thamba, Shem Yah, Shah, Yah, Shem Yah? You got any questions, sis? Most I pray. Good to see you, sis. Most I pray. But how come your pastor's doors ain't open? How come every time, and this is what kills me about our people, sir. Whenever our people go through anything, they rely, this is why I believe it's in Lamentations, where it says they hunt our steps. And it also says that we, that we rely on the people for people that can't help us, for vain help that won't come, paraphrasing, of course. The vain help is the Christian church. The vain help is the Muslim mosque. The vain help that cannot help you is the oppressor. Why would they want to help you? Why? They closed the doors on you, and that should tell you something too. It ain't the first time the door's been closed. Think about every time a major hurricane, I know I bring this up from time to time, but I will never let it leave my heart. A lot of y'all brothers and sisters in the world praise pastors like Creflo Dollar, T.D. Jakes, and that devil Joel Osteen. When all them hurricanes came and the whirlwinds, their doors were closed. They locked the doors on you. You couldn't even come in.
Right. So
damn, you can't come and serve the Most High and and learn from a so-called man of God during a tornado, hurricane, or a virus. That should tell you something right there. And y'all Christians love to say, well, we all fall short of the glory. Christ said if you had the faith of a mustard seed, you don't even have that.
Right.
Your pastor damn sure don't have that. Because if he did, he would tell you that the law, statutes, and the commandments are still in effect. That Christ did not die for everybody. That you need to stop eating that shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster and being a wicked sinner, man. But that don't conclude with his objective and his narrative. He's pushing something that the oppressor gave him. He's no different from the Pharisees and the Sadducees during the time where Christ walked the earth. That's why they challenged Christ. Y'all love to say, well, if Christ were here, nigga, you wouldn't even follow him. You want to know how I know that? Because you didn't follow him back then. That's why Ecclesiastes 1:9 says, for everything Ecclesiastes 1:9 says there's no new thing under the sun. You are the same people from back then. And ask yourself, if you're that same wicked Negro and sister that was criticizing Christ but didn't follow him, that wished death upon him, what happened to the prophets that you also killed, that you also persecuted? Who are they? We're right here in the UPK. We tried to tell you about COVID-19, but you wouldn't listen. It's right here in the scriptures, and we're going to get it for you right now. So, you got that for me?
Yeah, Deuteronomy 21.
28:61, sir.
28:61.
Come on, you could.
We in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 61. Also, every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law.
It says, also every sickness, every plague which is not written in the book of this law. Guess what? What is this talking about? This is talking about COVID-19.
That's right. This
is talking about the coronavirus. This is talking about every sickness that is not written in the book of these laws. Which means this is why it's more imperative to keep the law, statutes, and the commandments. The Lord has shown us right now that you shouldn't be doing every abominable thing. Smithfield and Tyson just shut down their pork plants. I don't think you understand that Smithfield is the largest pork outlet in the United States. They pump like 1 million pounds of swine a day. Think about that for a minute. 1 million pounds of pork a day, and they had to shut down. That is going to cripple their business. The same thing with Tyson. Tyson right now is having a shortage on the lawful foods. They like, damn, we're not so sure we can produce enough chickens and beef, and that's lawful. But pork is their moneymaker. And which just shows you how abominable the oppressor is and how devilish he is. Swine is unlawful. You don't understand, like, a lot of Christians also would criticize the Moab, the Chinese man, Moab in the Hebrew, for eating bats. But you eat crab, crawfish, shrimp, and lobster and pork. Don't you understand that viruses can grow and live in those unlawful animals? They are designed to cleanse the earth. They're not meant for consumption. This is why Leviticus, starting from the 11th chapter, tells you what is lawful and what is unlawful to eat. So when it says here in Deuteronomy 28:61, also every sickness and every plague, why is that every sickness and plague coming? Because we don't know how to do the right thing. The narrative when COVID-19 first came out, correct me if I'm wrong, sir. Maybe I just sound crazy. Maybe your guy don't know what he's talking about. Silly Negroes in the world saying, well, brother, we can't get the coronavirus because of the melanin in our skin. We absorb the sun, only the oppressor can get that. Black man, black woman, we can't get the coronavirus. The Most High said, oh yeah? You eating that shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster? You smoking that weed? Watch this. I'm going to give you that COVID-19.
Right.
COVID-19 hit 2 weeks later. Well, you see, brother, you die. The oppressor is using this COVID-19 to get us. You see, every time a plague come, a new tower come. Like swine flu, the third wave that came, 4G came, and now 5G came with the coronavirus. And I'm sitting here like, nigga, really? You just told me 2 weeks ago that we can't get it.
Right.
Now you get it. It's a conspiracy. But we read right here, every sickness, every plague. What is AIDS? How sick do you have to be as a sister in your mind to believe that life inside you is yours to kill? That's murder according to the Most High God. And in Malachi said he changed not. So what is that? What is the abortions our sisters doing? What is the drugs that you smoke and do every day? What about the oppressor giving our Gadite and Reubenite brothers and sisters the smallpox in a blanket? That was a real conspiracy because it happened. That was one of the first forms of biological warfare that the oppressor used on us. But you want to tell me about a tower. And we've been teaching this truth for the longest, trying to tell you. Only you listen. I bet you'll listen now. That's why it says every sickness and every plague. That's, if I could, sir, I cannot wait 5-10 years from now if the Lord allowed me to be here. When somebody who is an addict that smoke weed and try to tell me about how it brings them to God consciousness, about how it opens up their mind, how spiritual they are, so I can go back and show you when the coronavirus came and attacked their respiratory system because you wanted to smoke weed, vape, or whatever. I cannot wait for you silly Negroes to use that argument. Because studies have been shown if you smoke weed, you smoke cigarettes or vape, you are more likely to get it. I cannot wait, but it's supposed to heal your body, huh?
Right.
It takes you to a place where you can just be free, where you just in the spirit world. Brother, sister, you are sick. You are sick in the mind and in the head. And the answer is right here in front of us. It's right here. But the problem is our people are just so prideful. Just so prideful. You'd rather follow the lie because the lie is more entertaining than the truth. I hate to say it, sir. Hey, you know what I mean, sis? You'd rather be sweet talked to death. You'd rather be told, hey, instead of keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, let me drink this disinfectant. Let me drink that bleach or that Ajax and snort that Ajax. Really? That's where your mind is? Where you ingest something that really will kill you. But these laws, statutes, and commandments will save your life. That's why Baruch chapter 4, verse 1 says that if thou art keeping these commandments shall live, but those shall leave it shall die. That's why our people are dying today and are really spiritually dead. You're not living in the world if you think you have everything. If you think you live in the oppressor's dream, that you in his corporate world, that you work, you making a little $25 an hour, or you feel as though you live in the oppressor's neighborhood, you are spiritually dead. You're not alive. That's why Ezekiel said, that's why the Most High told Ezekiel, prophesied into the valley of dead man's bones. And that's what happened when the truth came to us. Shalom, little Christ, huh? Got any questions? Most High Christ. That's why when the truth came to us, I don't speak for myself and the brothers and sisters that's around me hearing the truth. When the word was given to us by the generals on down to the captains and the officers, we came to life. We were dead and flesh started to come to our bodies. Now we understand this truth and how important it is. It says it right here. Also, every sickness and every plague. Read on, sir.
Then will the Lord bring upon thee.
Then will the Lord bring upon thee. If you're wondering why you have COVID-19 or the coronavirus, or so you call it, and you smoke weed, cigarettes, eat shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster, that's why. Right. Because we were warned. The first warning that it went to our oppressor in these other nations. It was all well and good when Moab was getting it. Moab over there eating bats. We're like, look at these nasty motherfuckers. I know it was Christians like, look at these heathens, these nasty people, these nasty savage people eating these bats. Meanwhile, you eating the pigs behind. You eating crawfish. You eating catfish. And then now you're like, well, we still got to love them. Meanwhile, while it was hitting the Koreans and the Chinese and the Japanese, they own all the nail salons and spas in our neighborhoods and Chinese restaurants where you get that nasty kung pao chicken and you wonder why the wonton soup costs $1. They feeding you these abominable foods. Meanwhile, they calling you nigga. Meanwhile, they're accumulating thousands of dollars a week. While they were accumulating all this money, what money did they pour back in our communities when we started to get the virus? None. But when their people started to catch hell and they established hotlines for them, we spoke out. When I say we, people in the world, I know damn well we didn't speak out. We want these curses to come upon our enemies. But our foolish brothers and sisters in the world, hopefully they come in the truth. We pray for that each and every day. You still go to their salons, and you still go to their spas, and you still go to their restaurants. They do not support us. You should be glad that these viruses hit them first, that these plagues came upon them. I think about every sister that was in one of their salons and got jumped and beat up on. How many times, if I could, try to go to a Chinese restaurant that's open right now and get your little 4 wings and fries for $5 and be a penny short and see if they give you your food. They're not going to give it to you because they understand we are not the same people. They hate us. They came together with one consent along with these other nations, paraphrasing Psalms 83 and 1. Edom, Ishmael, Ayulam, Moab, Ammon, all of them came together with one consent to destroy us, man. And we need to separate from them. The Lord is showing us in Deuteronomy 28:61, every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law. Which means, guess what? It's going to come upon thee. It's going to come upon us because guess what? We love the Chinese man so much and the oppressor and the Arab man that we will allow them to be in our neighborhoods. And when I say allow them to be in our neighborhoods, we patronize their businesses. We show them support by giving them what? Our wealth and our time. Imagine if you put your dollar back into, our neighborhoods, back into the Black and Hispanic and Native Indian communities. Imagine if we said, we ain't gonna eat at that Ahba spot, that Moab spot. Let's go. You know, the sister down the street got a soul food spot. Brother down the street got a nice Issachar spot. I know I love cardinal salad. I love listen. I love them guacamole wings, the mole wings. I love it. Start patronizing and putting our time and wealth back into our own businesses. We wouldn't have to worry about these plagues coming upon us. Shalom, Yahweh, Shem, Shem, Sir, you want the class, sir? Most High Christ, sir. We wouldn't have to worry about this coming upon us because guess what? We be doing the right thing. And what is doing the right thing? Keeping amongst ourselves, being separate as the Most High God told us to be. So we're not supposed to be as the other nations. Is there any more on that, sir?
We in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 68.
Most High Christ.
Sorry, 61. Until thou be destroyed.
Until thou be destroyed. How destroyed do you have to be as a people, right? And I'm going to use our brothers, I'm going to use our sisters in Atlanta for a reference point. I thought after Moab beating y'all behinds in these salons that you would realize it's time for our sisters to open up our own spas so we can do our own sisters' hair and nails and everything and open up our own businesses and meet Tawab, even have our own restaurants. But when as soon as Atlanta, Georgia would open up, y'all said, man, let me go line up in that line and get my hair, get my nails and everything done, get this food. I'm like, have we not learned anything? Paraphrasing, how long will you love simplicity, Israel? These other nations don't give a damn about us. And it's really shown during this pandemic, during this virus. The Most High sent one small virus and turned the oppressor's world upside down.
Right.
They stuck together. We still have a hard time doing that because we feel as though we need these other nations when all we need is each other and the Most High in Christ. That's all we really need. That's why it says, until thou be destroyed. How destroyed do you have to be for the oppressor to beat you, rob you, and rape you, and then you still feel as though that you need to rely on them? That's why Zechariah 11:5 says, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. The oppressor in these other nations hold themselves not guilty for what they did to us. If you ask the oppressor, damn, you telling me to go back to Africa. I'm not from Africa. Why don't you go back to Europe? You're not from here. You slayed our Native American brothers and sisters and took their land and put them on reservations and still oppressed them and raped their women, and they still haven't received any stimulus money or a bill. Out of $484 billion, no Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian businesses will benefit from the small business loans that they gave out due to that bill. Why is that? Because guess what? The oppressors slay us and they hold themselves not guilty. Salakia. The white man is the devil that the Bible speaks of. He will never, never, ever change. He is not our friend, and neither is these other nations. And what kills me is that our people, we would rather battle within ourselves to try to love everybody instead of doing for ourselves and keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments and keeping faith in our King. Could you imagine? Just don't patronize their businesses. Do you know what would happen if you stopped celebrating their holidays and start celebrating the Lord's Passover, keeping the Sabbath, the Feast of Tabernacles, the Feast of Purim? The oppressor would crumble. That's why we read earlier in 2 Ezra 6 and 9, for Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the world which cometh after. Our world is coming and we are going to be in charge. And all these other nations who came together in one consent to oppress and destroy, rape, rob, and murder us, they're going to be under our foot. Because vengeance is of the Most High. We are of the Most High. If I could, sir, could I get Leviticus chapter 20 and I want to say verse 26. That's what we have to do, Israel. We do not need the oppressor. We don't need these other nations' support. They have everything they would ever need. They have their own nations. They got oil. They got their own land and everything, their own currency. We have the covenant. We have the Most High, and they despise us for it. That's all we have. I'm pretty sure we all grew up Christian. What's one thing that Big Mama used to always say? Yo, aunt, everything. All we got is Jesus. Guess what? That's true. All we have is Yahweh Shah Mashiach under the Most High. And more importantly, and the only way to get to them is through here. Israelite School of UPK. It's one body, one spirit. Can two walk together? That's what really kills me during this entire period of chaos. Where through all the confusion, everybody has shown their hand. The oppressor shown his hand, said, guess what? Black man, you on a bus and don't got no mask? Guess what? We're going to drag, me and these other 10 Edomites, we're going to drag you off of this SEPTA bus because you don't have no mask on. Oh, you want to have a house party on your block? You want to have a get-together? We're going to come through in riot gear in LA and in Michigan and in New York and Philly and tear your block up because y'all don't want to abide by social distancing. Meanwhile, the oppressor can storm his Capitol buildings with AR-15s. That should tell you right now that we live in two different worlds, that we don't need to be with these other nations. You know what I asked for, sir? Most High Christ.
We're in the book of Leviticus, chapter 20, verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me.
And it says, ye shall be holy unto me. Now, when you see holy, don't think, oh man, brother, we got to be sanctified. We got to be, don't think, take the Christianity and the dogma off of it. When you see holy, think separate. That's right. What holy means. Holy means separate. We are to be separate unto the Most High. Look how possessive the Most High is. They love to say, oh, look, God loves everybody. Christ loves everybody. But here's the problem. He said, thou shalt be holy unto me. We are meant to be separate unto the Most High. You can cut somebody just with that. Just the possessiveness and how the Most High is speaking. That's why it says, and ye. You see ye, you. Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man and woman. You, us. We shall be holy unto the Most High. Read on.
For I, the Lord, am holy.
For I, the Lord, am holy. He's a separatist. The Most High is a racist. He don't love everybody. He's not with all these other nations. Paraphrasing 2nd Ezra chapter 6 through 54 and 56, these other nations are nothing and be unto spittle. You're not going to read about that in your church. And which shows you how they're nothing and how they're unto spittle, look how fast COVID-19 ran through them. When the virus first came out, Mawa Abba over there in China was mourning because they would have homes filled with their children dead. Gone. Destroyed. Same thing with the oppressor. Why did the Most High show you that? As I said earlier, he's not going to meet you as a man, as Isaiah 47 and verse 3 says. That's a sign to come. And there's something more terrifying that is going to hit our oppressor and these other nations, and even more importantly, us, if we don't come back to the Most High. That's why I said, ye shall be holy unto me. When we're separate unto the Most High, we have to abide by what the Most High said. And what did he say? To keep his laws, statutes, and commandments. When we read about every sickness and every plague that's going to come, we don't have to worry about that if we're doing what the Most High is saying. If we were doing what we were supposed to do, COVID-19 was supposed to come through, destroy, and murder and kill all of our oppressors and these other nations while we were doing the correct thing. But the reason why it's hitting us so hard right now, because on top of the coronavirus, we are number one in what? AIDS, abortions, being addicts, periods. Everybody knows somebody that's smoking weed right now while class is going on. We all do. But the Lord said we are supposed to be holy unto him. We are supposed to be separate. We are above the oppressor and these other nations. I don't care how strung out and messed up you are on whatever drug you are on. I don't care what the oppressor and how society makes our people feel that we are nothing. The Most High said that we should be separate unto him because he is separate. You should be able to understand and read this and know we are better than all of them. We are better than whatever kind of drugs or warfare that they use against us. We are still here because the Most High is with us. That's why it says Israel shall be saved. This is why it's important right now. And now ain't the time to be wicked. Now is not the time to just dwell in sin, to be a wicked Christian, a Muslim, or to be a vagabond Jew. Now is not the time to be in the street homeless, talking about different doctrines that you did not learn through the Israelite School of UPK. None of you can say None of you can tell the story about how you believe you're in the truth because you're not, without mentioning the UPK, because it all started here. Now is not the time for that division. Now is the time to put your pride aside and come home and realize, hey, the Most High has told us time and time again. That's why it was written down that we are holy, for the Most High is holy. Read on, sir.
And have severed you from other people.
And has severed you from other people. Severed. Which means we were separated. Think about a steak that you had, or like just any slab of meat, and you cutting out the best part, the juicy part. That's us. We were special unto the Most High. He severed us from the parts that ain't good. That's why when I paraphrase in 2nd Ezra 6:54 through 56, them other nations, they like spit, they're nothing. He severed us for a reason, because they not about nothing. They ain't shit. Slack. They're not. That's why the penalty that came on Adam and Eve was so harsh, because when you eat the fruit of the other nations, you're taking on their knowledge. You're taking on their custom, their ways. You're becoming like the heathen. When Adam was given this truth, which made him better than anyone else because he was the man that was in charge. Dominion in the world was given to him. So for what they did was just so wicked. To disobey the Most High and follow after these other nations, why would you want to be like the oppressor? The oppressor thinks that he's so smart, that he's so bad, that he can beat COVID-19 by ingesting bleach and Ajax. He believes that. Trump said a month ago, sir, if I could, he went over this in class over to Diala, that he is smarter, that we are smarter than the invisible enemy. And then a little bit later after that, well, you just ingest, we can make you can ingest bleach or Ajax or whatever, some disinfectant. Come on now. That ain't no difference than that silly cult that Jim Jones had with them drinking the Kool-Aid and killing themselves. This is why we are here. This is why the UPK is just so essential, to use that term, because the oppressor had a nerve to say that our Issacharite brothers and sisters are now essential. Meanwhile, you had them locked up in cages. And then on top of that, which made it even more wicked, with the bill that got passed and the stimulus checks, if you're married to an illegal immigrant, basically calling out all of the Northern Kingdom, you married to one, you're not going to get a business loan from that $484 billion. You're not going to get a stimulus check. The Most High is telling us that we need to be separate from these other people. You got a question, sis?
Well, I wanted to make a comment
Go ahead, sis.
about Donald Trump. Like, he was so proudful. It makes me think of the scripture in Proverbs where it said pride goes before a fall.
Mm-hmm.
So he has become really insane.
That's what's beautiful. Give her a hand. Because Trump is setting himself up for failure. That's why I'm paraphrasing. I believe it's in Luke, where it says, "Oh, Lucifer, thou art fallen from heaven." Now, if you're a Christian, you'll look at that and say, well, you see, y'all see you die. Satan was up there rumbling Michael. Then the Most High had to step in and slam him down. Not realizing you don't understand the scriptures. That's talking about the white man, the oppressor. He's fallen down from his heaven. This is his world. That's why when we read in 2nd Ezra 6 and 9, for Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning would follow, the oppressor is falling. And this is why, if I could, sir, can you give me come out of her, my people, in Revelations? This is why it's important for us to be separate unto the Most High. This is why he severed us, because we can see it. They don't know what to do. Not too long ago, I forget the devil's name. He was on TV crying, talking about forgive us for our sins, crying crocodile tears. Meanwhile, our people are still facing oppression to this day. We're still being murdered in the streets. We are still being beat, raped, and robbed and destroyed. Flint, Michigan still don't got clean water, but they still want to talk about how we need to be forgiven for our sins. We have sinned against the Most High. Esau, you cannot repent for the evil that you did and continue to do. He is incapable of empathy. When has the oppressor ever been empathetic about anything in their existence? They have never put us.
And they want to show, the only time they want to show empathy is when they come to cause a division amongst our people, to divide and conquer.
I'll take it.
Like they're so empathetic.
I'll take it a step further. You know when they really do that? They do that during election time. Shalom, little Christ, brother. Ahba Bivins Upk. You got any questions? That's not crazy. They really do that during election time. They come in our neighborhood. You never see these politicians, these Edomites. They come in and they pump you up, put a barrier in your back saying, oh, I'm going to do this. And I laugh about this all the time, but I don't know if I should. I just make too much fun of this. When Bernie Sanders, he Negroes help. He's the great white hope for black people. He's the second coming of Bill Clinton. When he said he had to drop out, it was just Joe Biden. So many of our people were heartbroken and destroyed. But Bernie, how could you do this to us? And I think about that poor sister in New York that was crying to de Blasio, that devil, because her husband passed away and he was still living with her. If only that sister knew to just call Captain Tazariak in Israelite School in UPK. And your husband would have been brought out of there and he would have been given a proper burial. You look for a nation that cannot save us, man. If I could, sir, do you have that scripture?
God.
What's on Christ?
We in the book of Revelations, chapter 18, verse 4.
What's on Christ?
And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people.
It says, come out of her, my people. Now we're reading this out the New Testament. He's saying, Most High is saying, come out of her, my people. Who are the Most High's people? Guess what, black man, Hispanic man, Indian man and woman? He's talking about us. And he's telling us to come out of America, to come out. He's saying, come out, my people. The oppressor's world is different from our world. The oppressor tells us that, guess what? Homosexuality is an alternative lifestyle. That sister, it's okay. If that man don't want to be there, he want to go get another wife, put him on child support or we'll come and lock him up. Paraphrasing where it says, remove the strong, first bind the strong man. You can't enter into a strong man's house. The oppressor teaches us to do every wicked, abominable thing under the sun. They tell our brothers to be effeminate, and they tell our sisters to be more masculine. They tell us that children should rule over us, that we shouldn't be able to discipline our own kids, that the woman should be over us. That's why you have situations like the Wayne Wade where he can come out and say, well, my son decided at 3 years old that he can be so-called transgender. Really? And then we sit here and wonder why plagues like the coronavirus is here. This is why the Most High is telling us to come out of her, my people. Once again, look how possessive the Most High is in this scripture. He ain't telling everybody to come out of her. He's saying, my people. Before the coronavirus, think about it. What the oppressor have to run from? He got the high-rise buildings. He has every mall, he has every car, he has everything you need. Brothers, you understand this, Akim and Adawanya. When we go out to camp, they got every mall, they driving the fancy cars, living in the high-rise buildings. They are living. Who the hell is in hell? Who's in the ghetto? Who's in the barrio? What does the oppressor need to get saved from? They talking about, if I could, not the sidetrack. I heard brothers and sisters talking about the second wave of stimulus. They said if you make under $139,000, right, you'll get a stimulus check of $2,000 if they pass it. Think about it. The average Edomite, the average oppressor makes over $139,000. How many jakes do you know that make over that kind of money? I'm pretty sure if we all, Shalom, y'all watch me sharp as a thug cat. You went to class, sir? I'm pretty sure we all in this classroom combine our incomes. We come nowhere near $139,000. I'm pretty sure of that. Am I right? We don't come nowhere near that. But the average oppressor, that's what he makes. But he needs to be saved. He has to come out of what? What does he have to come out of? This is his world. This is his society. He's on high. We're on the bottom. So what the hell does he need to come out of? Come on now. This is what makes this scripture so powerful when the Most High Christ is saying, come out of her, my people. He's telling us to come out of America. As I brought out earlier, with the states opening up, guess what? Black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man and woman, don't go to that church. Don't go to that Muslim mosque. Don't go to that nail salon. Don't go to that Walmart. Don't go to that Target. Don't go to your supermarket. Don't go. Don't spend your money with them. Spend your money with our people in our own communities. Do that. How about do that? That's why the Most High is telling us to come out of her. When we put our wealth and our time and our love into these other nations, what is it reciprocated with? With hate, destruction, and even worse, death. Because they hate us. They do. And they show it to us. That's why the Most High had to reveal unto John the Revelator and say, hey, write this down. Tell my people. He ain't saying everybody. Because you know he loves to say everybody the Most High loves. God loves everybody. He's telling, hey, my people come out of her. Read on, sir.
And that ye receive not her plagues.
And receive not of her plagues. Ooh, 12 shield General Muhammad. What plague are they talking about? COVID-19, aka the coronavirus.
Right.
That's what they talking about. You don't want to receive onto the coronavirus? Stop smoking weed. Stop smoking cigarettes. Stop eating shrimp, crab, pork, and lobster. And stop sinning against the Most High God, man. You sin against the Most High God every time you partake in America. When you do every abominable thing that the oppressor and these other nations do, guess what? If you do that, you're going to be a participant in their plague. And that's why you can't be surprised. Allah Panya. Barak. How about Shem Yahweh
All right, clap it up. Get it on. All right. Questions? You got them, give them up. All right? Until you have them, we'll go into a few scriptures, all right? I'm going to go into the tribe of Simeon tonight, some more historical proof on the tribe of Simeon. We'll do that tonight. What else did I have? Oh, also this thing. Bear with me. Stand by, right? It's a term from slavery, a legal term. You get it right. It's called manumission. That's what you need first. Come send these to yourself, all right? You die? Send this to yourself. How do you pronounce that? Manumission, right? Manumission, better. You send that to yourself. And that. Right there. What's your number?
619. 574. Okay.
What?
I got it.
That's okay. I'll send these to you, all right?
Contact.
Okay, let me get you the tell you the Indian thing. Okay. If you get any questions online, you don't read them. Hmm. All right, I'm gonna send it to you. Send it to the brother, all right? All right. Solid. Please, question.
I get a breakdown on Hosea chapter 2, verse 16.
No problem. Let me get a napkin too, please, officer. Whoever the guard is, Daniela. Go to the precept for the student, please.
We're in the book of Hosea, chapter 2, verse 16. And it shall...
I'm sorry, I need to go over Habakkuk 2 and 8. I'm going to start a little bit above it. I believe this is an Edomite or an oppressor scripture, right? 1 second. Jeremiah 5 and 17, Jeremiah 8 and 13. Might be maybe Hebrews 6 and 9, all right? We'll get them when I have the time. Let me get a napkin when you get a chance. I've done y'all. Go ahead, please read. What was your question in specific, Doc? Was it anything? Or just a breakdown?
My question was, when it says, call me Ishi, like
Gotcha. What does that mean? Let's look up that term, all right? Ishi, all right? Let's look it up in the Bible dictionary. Whenever anyone has it, let me know and we'll read it along with the scripture, all right? Ishi. Okay, someone read for the brother, please. Go on.
We're in the book of Hosea, chapter 2, verse 16. And it shall be at the day, saith the Lord, that thou shalt call me Ishi, and shalt call me no more Baal.
Baal. Let's go 2 verses above it. Someone read it for him? Tell him where you are again. Where was your question at?
Hosea chapter 2, verse 16.
Hosea 2 and 16. Someone read, or you can read if you like. Go ahead.
Hosea chapter 2, verse 14. Therefore, behold, I will allure her, and bring her into the wilderness, and speak comfortably unto her.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 15. And I will give her her vineyards from thence.
Who is the her? Do you know? The her is Israel. Israel is the her. This is the Most High using the wife-husband metaphor when it comes to the relationship between Israel and their God, right? He protects us, he provides for us, and we owe him our life. We're married to him. You get the point, right? It's a metaphor. So he's saying, so read that part again.
And I will give her vineyards from thence,
Mm-hmm.
and the valley of Achor for a door of hope.
Mm-hmm.
And she shall sing there as in the days of her youth.
So what does the Most High give? What promise is he speaking about? The Most High is saying that he is going to protect us, enrich us, give us land, give us wealth, and we will be as healthy as well as prosperous as we were a long time ago. Right? The days that you're living in right now will be over then. Right? We'll be rich the way we were a long time ago, the way we were under King David, the way Adam had it in the Garden of Eden before he transgressed the Most High. We'll be rich and powerful like we were a long time ago. Keep going.
And as in the day when she came up out of the land of Egypt.
And as the day in which she did it say she? Correct, because once again, the Most High is referring to Israel, who came up out of the land of Egypt, but he's referring to us like we're his wife. You understand that now, right? The Lord is saying that I will take care of you the way I took care of you out of the land of Egypt. Very soon, the feast of, what's the feast that's coming up now? The first fruits. The feast of first fruits is coming up, man. And I was reading about the feast of first fruits today, and I've read on about all and how we have a high holy day, about the Most High blessing us with a harvest, and we thank him for the harvest he gave us. Now, can you imagine the nation of Israel having a harvest? having a harvest time. Even the concept is strange right now because we're a people that are absolutely subservient to our masters to survive. But imagine a time a long time ago in our youth where we had a gigantic harvest coming out of Egypt. And the harvest was so amazing that we said, listen, let's thank the Most High for this, man. Let's thank him for this. And in every year, remembered it and thanked him every year for that harvest that we would get every year. And you imagine the crops that we must have had as a nation. Now we're scrambling over toilet paper in the supermarket. But at that time, the harvest time came in and we were thanking the God of heaven for it because it was so amazing. The Most High is saying, I'll do that again for you. I'll take you back to those days. Keep going.
Verse 16. And it shall be at that day, saith the Lord, that thou shalt call me Ishi, and shalt call me no more Baali.
Thou shalt call me no more Baali or Baal, right? Which is, of course, the name of another god. But thou shalt call me Ishi. What does Ishi mean? I've been giving it to you all through the breakdown. Captain Cox is up.
It's Ayash, husband, right?
It's husband. I was giving it to you all through the breakdown, right? Ishi is Ayash, or husband. Husband. As opposed to calling him what we call him now, which is Baal. Do you understand that? Meaning, we call the Most High by the name of another God. Right? We're referring to the God of the Bible, but we give him the name of a Roman that lived during the Renaissance. Caesar Borgia, right? We're referring to Jesus Christ, but we call him Caesar Borgia. We're referring to the God of Israel, but we call him Allah. We're referring to the God of Israel, but we call him Jehovah, which is not his name. We're referring to the God that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, but we call him by the name that our oppressors has given him. We won't do that anymore. From then on, we'll call him our Lord, our husband, because finally, we'll be behaving ourselves like a decent wife. You understand, right? Ayash is Ishi, all right? Good to go. Any other questions?
Go
ahead.
So like John Brown said, Shalom Israel, Shalom General. If I may get a breakdown of Psalms 137 and verses 1 through 4.
Let's do it. Psalms 137, 1 through 4.
Colonel Cobb. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 137 and verse 1. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down, yea, we wept when we remembered Zion.
Captain Arias, the brothers might be having a problem with the strong. See if they are, all right? We're caught unaware today. Go ahead, Ar.
Verse 2. We hanged our hearts upon the willows.
Oh, he wants me to break this down?
Colonel Cobb.
Go ahead, read it again.
Colonel Cobb, from the top, sir.
Please.
Colonel Cobb, the book of Psalms, chapter 137 and verse 1. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept when we remembered Zion.
Is there a specific question about this? This is David singing about the Babylonian captivity. As you know, David was heavy in the music, and David wrote the book of Psalms, which in the exact translation of Songs is not the book of songs, which is what some people in the world say, but the book of thongs, right? And that's where the word song comes from the strumming of a guitar, a thong, right? And David wrote a ton of them. He wrote the book of Songs, and he wrote the Song of Solomon, right? They're all over the Bible. There's a gigantic book in the Bible. Some of them are about his oppression. Some of them are about his fear. Some of them are about his need to repent and his agony over the things that he has done. This one is about his women. That's what this song is about. All right, we'll read it again. Go ahead.
Colonel Cobb. By the rivers of Babylon.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the Song of Solomon. Salakia. This one is about the Babylonian captivity. This is David singing about it. I believe someone asked me this question recently when they said, how did David write about it when he was not born during the Babylonian captivity? And that is correct. David was not born during the Babylonian captivity. He's singing about it, however. He didn't live through it, but he's singing about it because, of course, he knows about it the same way you know about slavery. Everybody understands, right? Slavery for you happened back in the 1600s. but you talk about it, sing about it, even though you didn't actually live through it, but you know a whole lot about it because it was a gigantic event in your history. David was singing about the Babylonian captivity. What is the Babylonian captivity? It is the time when the Babylonians came in and they conquered Jerusalem, destroyed our temple, burned it to the ground with the aid of the Edomites, and then took us into captivity. And not, when I say take us into captivity, like most captivities, they didn't take all of us. They didn't take all of us. They took the princes. They took the people who had knowledge and skill. Give me that precept if you could, Captain Kataza. Where it says the Babylonians took the chief men, the chief princes, and took them into captivity. And kings, right. The Babylonians didn't just take the average farmer into Babylon into captivity. I appreciate that. I must have caught y'all unaware with the drink today. Okay, nobody know I need a time for it. Every week, once in a while. All right. So the Babylonians took our best men into captivity, and they left the farmers and the poor people there in Israel. Right? And this is what David is singing about. If you can find the precept, it might illuminate it a little better for you.
2 Kings, sir, 24 and 14.
2 Kings 24 and 14. Please read.
Yes, sir.
2 Kings, chapter 24, verse 14.
Can I start about that, sir?
Please.
Yes, sir.
Verse 13. And he carried out thence all the treasure.
Who is the he? Nebuchadnezzar is the he. The king of Babylon at that time. And he did what?
Carried out thence all the treasures.
Nebuchadnezzar carried out all the treasure, keep going,
Of the house of the Lord.
of the house of the Lord, speaking about what? Our temple. He went into our temple and he took out all of our treasure, all of our gold, all of our silver. He took it out. Keep going.
And cut in pieces all the vessels of gold which Solomon, king of Israel, had made in the temple of the Lord.
Now, once again, if you're in the world, this is hard for you to understand, right? If you're not, then you should be able to understand the type of heartbreaking event this is. For another race to come in and break in pieces gold that Solomon gave to the temple. Solomon, the actual King Solomon. And remember, this is hundreds of years after Solomon had already been gone. And now a heathen comes in and destroys it, breaks them in pieces. Keep going.
Yes, sir.
As the Lord had said, and he carried away all Jerusalem and the princes.
He carried away all Jerusalem who lived in Jerusalem, the upper class of Israel. It was our capital. It was like taking the inhabitants of Washington, D.C. Who will you get? Lobbyists, lawyers, and politicians. That's who lived in Jerusalem. He took away all of Jerusalem. Keep going.
And all the princes.
And all the what?
Princes.
All of the leaders of Israel. The people of breeding and of good stock. The people who were skilled. He took them. He took them out and brought them to Babylon. Keep going.
And all the mighty men of valor.
And if you were a warrior, if you were a staunch soldier, a skilled soldier, he took you out of Israel and took you to Babylon. So imagine Babylon now. Babylon has our best fighters, our best soldiers, our best craftsmen, and all of our leaders. They don't live in Israel anymore. After the Babylonian captivity, they live in Babylon. Are you with me? Now take me to Psalms 137. Now that precept is what you need to give this context. So now who's in Babylon? Rich, powerful men who grew up to lead Israel and to protect Israel from the other nations. Now they live in Babylon. Keep going. No, Psalms 137, please. Go ahead.
The book of Psalms, chapter 137, and verse 1. By the rivers of Babylon, there we sat down. Yea, we wept when we remembered Zion.
By the rivers of Babylon, there we wept when we remembered Zion. Keep going.
We hanged our hearts upon the willows in the midst thereof.
Who is the we Solomon is talking about? His foreparents, his great-great-grandfathers who lived in Jerusalem, who were mighty men, who were men of valor and honor and skill, and they had to go live in Babylon. And we wept there There we sat by the rivers and we cried. We cried what? Yea, we wept.
We wept when we remembered Zion.
We wept when we remembered Zion. They cried in Babylon. They were princes in Israel. Now they're in Babylon working for another people, enriching their society. Brought there to lead in Babylon. Brought there to make the Babylonians safe, to make the Babylonians rich. And they sat by the water and they cried. Keep going. Help me out with that noise in the back, Yaakov, all right?
We hanged our hearts upon the willows in the midst thereof.
We hung our hearts upon the willows in the midst thereof. This is a metaphor, right? What is a willow synonymous with? Weeping, weeping. When they went to Babylon, they sung sad songs in Babylon. That's what that means. We hung our harps on the willows in the middle of Babylon, meaning we sung sad songs in Babylon. A harp is not a harp like from the cartoons, or what they call a harp today. A harp is a guitar. Look it up in your Bible dictionary, right? That's what a harp is, a lyre or a guitar. They sung sad songs in Babylon. They were crying and singing sad songs. Does that sound familiar? Of course it is, because that's what the tribe of Judah did here in America. That's what the blues are. The blues is that. The blues are old soul music. Terrible. I have a ton of it saved on my phone. Old Negro spirituals that are just hard to even listen to. Because you can hear the pain back then. And just singing and singing and singing for some release. Oh, because of the pain that they feel every day. Come on.
I heard you share a precept about that in Psalm a couple of weeks ago. Could you give me that?
This might be it right here. Right. These people were in Babylon singing the blues, man. Singing the blues. Keep going.
Verse 3. For they that carried us away captive would require of us a song.
The people who brung them to Babylon, brung them there to sing. They wanted them to sing. Now, come on, man. Like this has got to jog something in your head, right? The people who put you in slavery, the minute you get there, they hand you a piano. They hand a blind boy a piano. He's blind. He can't see the goddamn piano. Stevie Wonder doesn't know what a piano looks like. He has never seen a piano, and he's just one. They had tons of little blind boys. Look up Blind Boy Willie. Blind Willie, he was around in slavery and was rich, playing a piano he'd never seen before, ever. And there was so many blacks and Hispanics like that they would just push an instrument in your hands and expect you to sing. Expect you to start singing. Keep going.
And they that wasted us.
They that wasted us. They that destroyed us. Go ahead.
Required of us mirth. Say.
They required of us mirth. Who knows what mirth is? Mirth is happiness. So they give you an instrument. They push you on the stage. They push you in the middle of a living room, in the middle of a parlor back in the 1600s. And they expect you to perform. And they say to you, sing. Sing us a song of mirth. Mirth is happiness. They want you to sing a happy song in their living room, in their parlor, on their stage, in their stadium, on their TV, in their radio. They expect you to sing a happy song. Keep going.
Say, sing us one of the songs of Zion.
Say it, read it again.
Sing us one of the songs of Zion.
Read it again.
Sing us one of the songs of Zion.
Before we came to Babylon in captivity, we were already famous for our art. Already famous. Already famous for how we could fight lions and were skillful in war and were fierce warriors in battle. Famous for our leadership abilities. Famous for our ability to sing. Famous already. So when they took us into slavery, they expected to hear one of those songs of Zion that they heard so much about. They wanted to hear it. Saying, sing us one of those songs of Zion. Keep going.
Verse 4. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land?
Read that again.
How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land?
I was listening to some little Issacharite boy sing some song in Spanish, brother. I couldn't understand the word, but it was absolutely moving.
Right.
I don't even know what he was saying. What's that music that the Mexicans sing out? When they sing with the guitar and they sing that thing out, brother. I wish I knew the name of it because it is outstanding, and you can hear the pain. You can hear the agony in how they sing these Spanish songs. Go ahead up in the back. You got your hand up. Mariachi? I don't think it's mariachi. I could be, but I think it's something else. I think mariachi is the more upbeat one. But one of the brothers from LA, let me know, brother. But they said this brother was singing this song, and it was just so sad. It was so sad and beautiful at the same time. Well, when we came into captivity, they didn't want that.
Right.
They wanted a happy song. They wanted us to be happy. They wanted us to feel blessed. To feel like, this was a great thing that has happened to me. Now I get to come and be an American citizen. Now I get to come and be Christian. Now I'm no longer this savage shooting bow and arrows off of a bareback horse. Now I can be a Christian. Now I can cut my hair and shave my beard and go to church, and I should be happy about it. That's what they wanted from us. But David said, how can I sing the Lord's song in a strange land? I can't do that here. I can't be happy here. I can't. Keep going.
Come. Verse 5. If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning.
If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. Your right hand is the hand that you write with, that you throw a spear with, or that you shoot a gun with today. Your right hand is the hand of skill, bro. If I forget Jerusalem, let my right hand forget its skill. Let my right hand forget all of the things it can do if I forget Jerusalem. Keep going.
Come. Verse 6. If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth.
If I can't remember Jerusalem, I don't want to be able to sing anything or speak. I want my tongue to cleave to the roof of my mouth. To cleave to the roof of your mouth, it means your tongue would be stuck to the top of your mouth and you could not speak at all. David would rather that than him not remembering Jerusalem, not remembering his homeland. Keep going.
Come. If I prefer not Jerusalem.
If I what?
If I prefer not Jerusalem.
Here's the tricky one for you Christians. If I prefer not Jerusalem, go ahead.
Come. Above my chief joy.
Above my chief joy. So I'm in Babylon. And how am I being treated in Babylon? I'm living in the big house. I'm a soldier in Babylon. I'm rich in Babylon. I'm a famous piano player. I'm a famous basketball player. I'm a famous fighter back in the 1600s when they would have men fight. They would have men fight. They could have sex with whatever woman they wanted. They could get all the money they wanted. They were famous. They should have been happy. But they weren't allowed to be happy if they forget Israel, if they forget Jerusalem. Jerusalem has to be more important than the thing you love the most,
Right.
than the thing you care the most about. Keep going.
Come. Verse 7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom.
Remember who?
The children of Edom.
Remember who?
The children of Edom.
David said, remember while they're expecting him to be happy. He said, remember, Lord, the children of Edom. Who are the children of Edom? Our oppressors are the children of Edom.
Right.
Keep going.
Come. In the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation.
You want to word that like this. Raise it, raise it. That's how you say that. It's like a cry out. Raise it, even to the foundation thereof. Meaning, raise it means burn it, destroy it. Like you burn up a house, like you burn it up, right? That's what raise it means, to destroy it. Destroy it to the foundation. Tear it down to the foundation. That's what the Edomites said to the Babylonians as they cheered on the Babylonians' destruction of our holy place. Keep going.
Come. Verse 8. O daughter of Babylon.
Oh, who?
O daughter of Babylon.
That's who the children of Edom are, the daughter of Babylon. They're the daughters of Babylon, the offspring of this vile place that destroyed our temple. Keep going.
Who ought to be destroyed.
Who what?
Who ought to be destroyed.
They ought to be destroyed. They need to get killed. They ought to be destroyed. They need to die. They ought to be destroyed. It's there in the Bible.
Right.
They ought to be destroyed. Keep going.
Happy shall he be that he rewardeth thee as thou hast served us.
Happy shall he be that rewards you as you have served us. When you get what you have given, that person is going to be ecstatic that gets to do it.
Right.
That gets to give you justice, man. And justice is a beautiful thing. It's something that if you're Black and Hispanic, you know, the church has, you know, has fulfilled that sense of joy you would get from the day of justice.
Right.
You forget about that and you just give yourself the singing and the drugs, of course. The drugs and the music you get in church, the songs of mirth that you get in church, the happy songs that you get in church, they're going to make sure that you never get to be happy on the day of judgment. You never get to be the one that is ecstatic because you were able to remember your people and remember Jerusalem and to answer what happened to them. What a happy day that's going to be.
Right.
Keep going.
Verse 9. Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stone.
Happy shall he be that taketh and dasheth thy little ones against the stones. Meaning taking his child and smashing his child against the rocks. That person is going to be ecstatic that does that. He's going to be happy. Why? Who can guess why a person would be so happy that does that? Take a guess. First, think like a human being. And why would you be happy if a judgment came and the judgment was that this child had to get smashed against the rocks and you were happy to do it? You call it. What do you mean?
They did to us.
Bring it right home. Who would be happy to do it?
We would.
You're not bringing me home. There's a person that would be happy to do it.
Most High.
A person that would be happy to do it.
A person whose child got killed or dashed between the stones.
Give her a hand. So you know what? A mother who watched her child be killed. And imagine the judge saying, this is the judgment, your sons, they're going to get smashed against these rocks. Bring your car forward. Bring her forward. Come on, your car. And your car steps up with tears in her eyes. And finally, she gets to have a happy day today. Finally, she gets to not cry. And finally, she now knows that her child, who was killed and raped and destroyed, her child is a human being who deserves justice. A father who had to watch his children raped and killed. The judge says, come forward. Come forward, Up. Come on, you want to find? Come up here. I know what happened to your kids. Come up front. Finally, he gets to have a happy day. He hasn't had many, before that day. But that day, he got to feel some joy. I think about what the Jewish people felt in The Hague in 1945 when they got to hang everyone who was involved with killing 6 million Jewish people. And they got to hang them all. I think about what they felt like over there in Iran when they hung Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was giving them Iranians hell for 30 years, killing them and destroying them and wiping out the Kurds. Right. The Kurds in northern Iraq, Saddam Hussein was killing them, brother, for breakfast all the time. Right. Then he was in a basement and they were putting a rope around his neck and they were screaming, Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar. Go watch the tape. They were screaming unto Allah, happy. And they put the rope around his neck. And Saddam Hussein said, death to the Persians. He said that when they went to hang him because he knew this was finally these Persians getting them. The Persians meaning Iran. But the Iranians were in this little room in a basement, screaming like they had hit the lottery. And I said, boy, that must be what free men feel.
Right.
One day, however, one day, which is what all this work is for. All this work is for that. There's many different ways to get blessed, and there's many different beings that can bless you, right? But if you want to get blessed by the Most High, it takes some time, it takes some patience, and it takes a lot of discipline. If you want to get blessed just by anybody, come on, they'll tell you what you have to do. This leads me into what I had to bring out today. Give me that word that I gave you today. What's the name of it again? Manumission, right? Manumission is an old slave law. Read a little bit of it for me, please, all right? There's another word that comes after that. Manumission something. Can you put it up here for him?
Oh, yeah,
Please. Any other questions while I go into this?
oh, sir.
Let me get finished the manumission if I could. Water for the tongue down, y'all. Go ahead.
If I could, I just had a comment, sir. Like you'll see, like they got this show on Hulu called Underground, and like you can see, like when you see like the slave, it's a slave like show or whatever. It's a series, and like when you see like certain parts where the slave will, that they'll get the white man and chain him up. You know what I mean? Like where they about to beat his back or something like that. It's like they always take the high road.
Every time.
Like even in Roots, that like when they tied the dude up at the end, they was about to whip him, but then they just always take the high road and don't do to him like how he.
That's why I was shocked when they killed Osama bin Laden. I just knew they were going to walk in the room and say, Osama, we're going to bring you to justice. We're going to take you and arrest you and take you to court because we're not like you. We're better than you. Lo and behold, they put a bullet in his head, though.
Right.
They decided to not do that. Right? So it confused me watching all those shows growing up. When the minute a black or Hispanic gets the chance for justice, he goes, you know what? I'm nothing like you.
Right.
You're under arrest.
Right.
Osama stood there. They decided to just put 3 bullets in his forehead and put him on a boat, and they had paid him no respect. So after they took his body, they shot him 4 times in the head. Then they wrapped up his body and took it out. But they wanted to confirm that it was him, but they didn't have any way to confirm that it was. They knew he was 6'4", and they said, "Damn, how can we confirm?" They laid some guy with him, one of the Navy SEALs who was 6'4", laid down next to the body and smiled to measure whether or not this body was 6'4". And Barack Obama, when he saw the pictures, said, "You went over there with all of that ammunition and all of those special and top-notch equipment, but you couldn't bring a tape measurer to just measure the man because that's how laughable it was." Right. They just laid down on a boat next to him just to see if he was 6'4", having a wonderful time, having a ball, laughing, taking pictures, having a good time. Because that day, they got to feel like the people who died during 9/11 were people that mattered. And they were the ones that were able to do it. Oh, it gives me chills. Like to be the one who could do it. Like tons of people are sad about 9/11 and hate the Muslims and hate the Arabs. But those cats were able to go to damn what did you call it? No. The one next to India. Pakistan. They were able to go to Pakistan and carry out the judgment that Barack Obama pronounced on them. That was an honor. That was an absolute honor that those cats were able to do, and they worked hard for it. They had discipline. They were patient for how long? 20 years? 15 years? 10 years? They were patient. They trained. They devoted their lives to the pursuit of justice. Right. And on that day, they got it. What I don't understand is why can't we as black people do the same thing? Right. Why can't we as Hispanics devote our lives to the pursuit of justice? Sacrifice for it, wait as long as it takes, and then one day we could be there by that river when finally justice is meant to be carried out. Come on, man, I'm in. I'm in. I'll take it. This is the other path. If you don't like that path, you could take this path. This is manumission, right? Or another word for it is even worse. Affranchisement.
Right.
Is that right?
Right.
Manumission or affranchisement, what is it, Yedai?
Manumission or affranchisement is the act of an owner freeing his or her slaves. Different approaches develop, each specific to the time and place of a particular society.
Keep going.
Jamaican historian Vernon Shepherd states the most widely used term is gratuitous manumission.
I'll take it. Keep going.
The conferment of freedom on the enslaved by the enslavers before the end of the slave system.
Skip down to bailiff. You see the word bailiff somewhere around here? Go ahead.
A trusted bailiff might be manumitted as a gesture of gratitude.
When you look up the word bailiff, who knows what bailiff is? Take a guess. You can probably guess. A bailiff, he was an overseer, right? He was the cop. He was the one who beat your back at the orders of the white oppressor, right? And he was doing it with the hope that he would be freed. And they go through this whole list of traitors. If you stopped a rebellion, you might gain your freedom. If you went in and snitched on a rebellion, you could get free. That's what happened to Nat Turner. Nat Turner was trying to have a rebellion. Still need you right here, right? And of course, his friends went in and snitched on him.
Right.
This is the reason for all of it. Every slave was just hoping to be free. But the path to freedom that they chose was to betray their people.
Right.
That's another path to freedom. You can always work for the government. You can always become a drug dealer. You can always please master by betraying your blood.
Right.
And that also is the path to heaven. That's also a path to getting everything that you want. And these men, these overseers, took that path. And they would just hope and hope and hope that if they beat enough of their brothers and sisters' backs, if they were the worst bailiff in the world, if they made sure that every bale of cotton was produced on their master's deathbed, in his will, he would free them. You want to say something?
If I could, sir, could I use in Exodus where Pharaoh and Egypt set up taskmasters in Israel?
Forget about it. That's exactly what we're talking about. And this is the law that gave a master the right to free you. Now, he could only free two. There was a limit on how many he could free. There was a limit on when he could do it and his reasons for it. And the reasons are all traitorous, every last one of them. And this is the path, the other path that you can take if you're skillful in America, if you're skillful in Babylon, if you have skills and things you can do, instead of waiting, instead of being patient, instead of devoting your life to the pursuit of justice, instead of changing who you are, you could always take this path. Here's the problem for you, though. The people who take this path and the people that have chosen our path, we clash. One day we also meet. You don't want to be on the other side of that. Reading on. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Ladarius Graham says, Salakia Adawan, if I may, can I get a breakdown of Matthew 5 and 44? Who are the enemies in this precept of Pesha?
Please read.
Look at Matthew chapter 5, verse 44. But I say unto you, love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you.
Well, of course, this could be the New Testament telling you to love the white man who carries a gun and forces you to love him anyway. Right? I never understood the Bible telling you to love white people when white people carry a gun and demand your love with a gun. And a cop says, put your hands up. You're not raising your hands because of the Bible or Jesus. You're raising your hands because he's going to beat the hell out of you if you don't. Right? When you're polite on your job, are you polite on your job because you're a good Christian and you believe in the Lord and our Savior Jesus Christ? Or are you polite on your job because you get fired without saying sir and ma'am and being polite to white people? White people enforce good treatment. It doesn't come from your spiritual beliefs. It comes from fear. So why would Christ have to say, listen, That guy with the gun and that guy who controls your employment and that guy that controls whether or not you get beat, be nice to him. Make sure you're nice to him for Jesus' sake. You're nice to him out of fear of repercussions. This is not talking about the other nations. Let me tell you who your enemy is, who you must love. That brother you're about to punch over that chicken sandwich in Popeyes.
Right.
That's the enemy you gotta love.
Right.
That brother on the way over here today, Lord have mercy. We on the way over here today, it's some brother double parked in his car on a two-lane street. So of course I gotta go around him. But of course there's oncoming traffic coming. And I'm looking at him and he looks like every gremlin. And UPK, we would call him a gremlin. That's an old term for brothers like him. He's on there with his phone talking to his friend. I'm assuming making a meme and making funny videos. And then a car came and almost hit me. And I went and I pushed my button on the window. And I turned. Ooh, and I caught myself, brother, but it took all I had to not kill him. Everything in me, because in my opinion, he's trying to kill me. He wants to kill me. He wants me to get on a head-on collision. That's what he wants, and I should kill him here for doing that. But then I looked at him, and he was making a meme with his friend, and they looked like the most ignorant simpletons in the world.
Right.
He's the enemy I have to love, him. And I need the Bible to make me do it, because he can't make me love him. What can he do if I get out the car and decide to beat his face in the steering wheel of his car? He can't do anything about it but be beat to death right there in his car, him and his friend. If I want to get out the car and beat him to death, he can't stop me. Nothing. The police are not going to give a damn about what I do to him. The only one that will care about him is the Most High. The Most High does care about him. The Most High will punish me for what I do to him. Precept. David, when he went to kill Nabal, he said, I'm coming to Nabal to kill everyone that pisseth against the wall. I'm killing every man that stands up when he pees. Everybody. He came to do it, and Abigail met him. What's her name? Abigail met David on the way and stopped him, and he said, Thou art blessed, for you have stopped me from taking revenge at my own hand. She stopped him from doing it. The Most High was protecting Nabal, protecting him from David, who could have killed him. But the Most High protects ignorant Israelites. Stupid gremlins are protected by the Most High. The Lord is watching over them. He's with them. They're your enemies who you are forbidden to harm. That's your enemy. The guy in the line for the sneakers who you're going to shoot because you've been standing in line to get Nikes for 12 hours. And you're going to shoot him. That's the enemy you have to love. The people in Popeyes who you want to argue over your napkins. Your napkin. Right. The people who step on your shoe. The people who you look at in a bar, who look at you. Make eye contact. That's like a death penalty offense. To make eye contact. That's the enemy you have to love. That sister who you're going to molest. That girl you're going to rape and ruin her life and send her down the road to promiscuity and becoming a stripper and ruin her entire life because of what you do to her at 13 years old. That's your enemy. Right. She's your enemy that you have to love. That brother who you're going to take to child support court, destroy his life, make sure he's not in the child's life, and make sure that he is absolutely emasculated. So emasculated that he's not going to have the heart to even look at his son. He's your enemy that you have to love. The Most High is protecting Israelites from Israelites. And without the Bible, who else would do it?
Right.
Amen.
Yes, like if I could, down North Philadelphia, if you from 15th Street, you beefing with the guys that's from 17th Street. They're literally, 2 blocks away from one another, hate one another.
That's my whole childhood. I'm looking at them. They up there on that hill. They right there. This is our corner, that's their corner. And we kill each other and shoot each other. And so here we go. All right, so, moving on. All right. Go ahead. Any other questions?
Salaki, sir. Kevin Young. Salaki. Kevin Young says, Salaki, General, sir, how do you know when it's the Most High trying to show someone something versus a time to show brotherhood to someone in the world? I'm asking to know, is it wise and also a fishing tactic to help them every time? Salaki, sir.
Okay, it sounds like he's confused of what brotherhood is and what showing somebody something is. Brotherhood at times is, I'm giving you a pass, brother. I love you. You're my brother. And then there's another brotherhood that is a stern chastisement. The Lord said this, if I chastise thee not, thou hast no part in me. There's a chastisement that is absolutely brotherly. That the fact that someone checks the hell out of you is the proof that they love you. And then there's a brotherhood that makes you give him a pass and not check it. Brotherhood carries a sword too. That's what General Yana always taught. Brotherhood carries a sword. So don't think that it's unbrotherly to chastise somebody, and don't think that you're being brotherly by not chastising somebody. This is what you want to do for your brother. Give him just what he needs, whatever that thing is. Right? He might need a break sometime. He might need you to not check it. He might need you to leave him the hell alone. Leave him alone then. Don't check it. Leave him alone. Give him a pass. He might need you to check it. Give him just what he needs, which should be you asking me the next question. What's the next question that you should be asking right now based on what I just said? I'll do it for you. How do you know what he needs? Well, you know what he needs, Yaquah.
I'm paraphrasing, of course, but is it this precept of know the neighbors amongst you?
No, that's not how you know what he needs.
Oh, come on. Discerning, Slocky, if I could. I'm paraphrasing again, but discerning the spirit?
Nope. I got a brother, and I know I got to chastise him sometime out of love. I know I got to give him a pass sometime out of love. How do I know which one he needs? It's very simple. You're not going to like it that you didn't know. Now bring me home. So I know because I know what I needed. Give her a hand. That's good. Right? So what do? First, you come in and learn and get checked and get a pass sometime. You get my point? And as you grow, you'll know, man, them brothers gave me a pass. They sure didn't have to give me a pass for that stupid shit I did. But they let that one go. They didn't sweat that one. Damn, that was heavy that they did that. You know when someone's giving you mercy. You know when it's happening. You know, you're like, whoa, man, he's giving me a break. Damn, hardcore. And then what else do you know? You know when you are in a Majim Shabbat, standing up in a Majim Shabbat, getting checked for hours. You know when your phone is ringing and you are getting checked, sitting there on the phone, and you dare not say a word other than cut out of one cunt, cut out of one cunt. That's the key, young brothers, to stop getting checked. Just agree. Agree with it.
Right.
Okay, so I must have did it. I didn't know I stole that. But, you know, you checking me so much, I must have stolen it. Salakia. You know what he'll say? He'll go, this brother probably didn't even steal it, man. The way he took that check in. I bet you didn't even do that, did you? It'll come to him. You'll be so righteous, he'll go, hold up now, this cat might not have stolen that. He taking it so right. You know what? I'm giving you a pass on this one, all right? Don't sweat it. Don't worry about it. I don't care what happened to it. Don't worry about it. I'm letting it go. By you coming in and you pushing yourself into the mold of who you should be, getting checked sometime, getting mercy sometime, then it'll be your turn. And then now you'll know just what he needs because you'll know what you need. And it applies to women too. It's the exact same thing. You're going to have a wife. Sometimes you should check her. Sometimes you should light that house up, brother. Sometimes you should get to that crib, brother, and give it to her. Let her have it. Other times, you should let her win that argument. You should let her do it. You should know she's absolutely wrong. And go, all right. Okay. You want to paint the whole house? Well, okay, listen. No sweat. You want to paint it like that's what you want to do. Okay, no sweat. That's fine. That's what you like. No problem. You got it. No sweat. That's okay. Oh, I know that's true. You know it. You know all things anyway. Really, I don't need this Google. I should just call you. I was going to replace Google with your phone number. So I could, instead of Googling things, I could just call you up. And you could just answer all questions on the earth because you know all things. No sweat. You got it. I mean, you win in this argument. How do you know when you should let your wife win? Because it makes her happy and you're giving her mercy. And the other times when you should check her, you know, because you know what you needed. It's the exact same thing. What the sister said is quintessential to understanding it. Love thy brother as thyself. All right? Next.
Come. Salaki, sir. Joshua Rogers says, can I get the UPK stance on sin? Do all nations sin against the Most High? We know sin is the transgression of the law, and the laws were not given to no one but Israel. How do we deal with scriptures that say heathen sinned against the Most High?
I'll explain. Every heathen is a sinful nation. Every last one.
Right.
Every nation is sinful. Why are they sinful? They're sinful because they don't keep the Lord's commandments. Which begs what question? They were never given the Lord's commandments. So how could they be sinners? Because, of course, the Most High gave Israel his commandments. How are the other nations sinners, though they have not received the law? Because they sin against us. That's how they're a sinful people. Because we have the law. So every race on this planet could obey us. And if they obeyed us, they would not be a sinful people.
Right.
But instead of obeying us, they abuse us and destroy us. When the very key to them having a good life is in the people that they keep in slave quarters and in prisons. The people in prison and the people in the graves are the ones that could solve every problem in America.
Right.
Every last one. But instead of coming to us for our wisdom, for our help, they abuse us and they destroy the Lord's flock. And because of that, they are a sinful people because they sin against the people of the law. Right. Does everyone understand?
Right.
Next question. All right, solid. Anything else in the room? Questions in the room? All right, let me get the ones I had online. First of all, let's go into the tribe of Simeon. We don't have the banners up in here. The tribe of Simeon, right? I want you to look up who are the native people of the Dominican Republic. Let's find that first. All right. Who are the native people of the Dominican Republic? You're gonna let me know. Careful.
The Arawak Indians.
Not quite. Those are strong, but not totally. What's a better one, meaning a more populous one? Anyone have it? Try to look it up for me, all right? Hurry up. The Taino Indians tribe of the original inhabitants of Hispaniola, or that island that the Dominicans and the Levites share, right? The Taino Indians. So now we're going to look up some history on the Taino Indians. Read what that says at the top.
Come on, sir. The ceremonial Taino.
Up at the top.
Oh, come on. The ceremonial Taino Petalud hatchet and its relation to the Mayan hatchet god Kawil.
Meaning this, that the Taino Indians had a symbol that was their symbol that they worshipped that was a hatchet, that was an axe. And they worshiped this axe. When you read all of this, skip down a little more. Give me some more. Go up a little bit. Stop right there. Right here. Go ahead.
The ancient Taino word for ceremonial hatchet is mananya. These so-called petaloid kelp hatchets are very common and get their archaeological name petalloid, which because the actual tear-like stone blade is shaped like a flower petal.
Flower petal, that's another good one. Now, what is all this proving? This is a very common thing throughout history, right? The North American Indian. The North American Indian of course, is famous for their bow and arrow. Later on, what happened with the bow and arrow? It began to be a magical instrument. It began to be something that was wrapped in, myth and superstition, and they began to worship their animal gods with the bow and arrow. Much the same way with the tribe of Ephraim. If Captain Cottazar, he's here tonight from the tribe of Ephraim, right? He's from the home of all Ephraimites, New York City, right? Philadelphia is the second to New York, which is the home of all Ephraim, right? The Ephraimites would put a spike on their horses' helmets in war. They would put a spike on their horses' helmets in war, and over time, that spike that they would wear, that the horse would wear on his, I forget the name of it, girthers or gathers. It's the armor that a horse wears. Over time, that became magical. There was some horse that had a spike growing out of his head that was called a unicorn because the symbol for the tribe of Ephraim is the unicorn. And you'll find this all throughout the history of the 12 tribes, all types of magical stories. When they see the grapes on artifacts, they're referred to the tribe of Asher, and then it becomes, worship. It represents some god and worship and all that nonsense. When in actuality, it's this tribe holding on to some part of their culture, but over time they lose it and it becomes the worship of a false god. The symbol for the tribe of Simeon is the axe. It's their symbol in the Bible. It's their symbol in archaeology. And you can find this when you go to research any one of the 12 tribes. Everybody understands. That's the symbol for each tribe has a symbol. The symbol for the tribe of Simeon, who are the Dominicans, is the axe. And this symbol is synonymous with them. This axe in the shape of a flower or a teardrop. All right? Everybody has it, right? You can go look it up on your own. Good to go? Anything else? Questions?
No more questions, sir.
Go ahead. You said no more?
Not online, sir.
Solid. All right, let me get this for you. Bear with me. Bobbity. Okay. The ones I asked for earlier. What's the ones I brought out earlier to you? Habakkuk, right? Habakkuk 2 and 8. I'm gonna go above it. Let's go to Habakkuk 1. Let's go to Habakkuk 1 and the end of Habakkuk 1. What's the last verse in Habakkuk 1?
17, sir.
17. One second, let me catch up with you. Habakkuk 1 and 16. Good. There was something else. You just drive my memory. I finished up in Habakkuk, but it was another one I just remembered I had to bring out about the COVID-19. Go ahead,
It was 2 scriptures in Jeremiah.
So what? I need those as well. Let me do this Habakkuk 1 quickly. I might just, what did I say again? 2 and what? Did I tell you where? 2 and 8.
2 and 8.
You can put this in your breakdown for Edomites, all right, for your oppressors, okay? We're going to start up at 4. You know what? No, not that. Let's start at 3. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I had a question.
Please, go ahead.
All right, so like in the Bible, it's like
See me one more time, please.
It's like a lot of accounts of angels speaking to like prophets,
Right.
Coming down face to face.
Right.
Do that still happen?
Explain.
Like, do angels still speak to certain prophets now?
Most definitely they
Face to
do.
face.
For sure. Yeah, that happens. It happens sometime and you don't know he's an angel.
Oh, God.
Precept. That quote.
If I could paraphrase that, time you have entertain angels.
Entertain angels unaware, right? Sometimes an angel is speaking to you, you think it's some homeless man.
Correct.
Just talking to you. And he's stunning you at his wisdom, and you're like, what's going on here? But because you're in the UPK and you know to don't just glance over some stranger coming over to you saying something that's heavy. You better listen.
Right.
Because it could be an angel. So that pauses you from just ignoring him or saying, get out of my face, go get a job. Get off of my car, or leave me alone. You better shut your mouth and listen.
Right.
Because it could be an angel. And you will be punished for how you treat him. Everybody understands?
Oh, God. Okay.
All right. You tell them what that precept is so they can have it, all right? For some have entertained angels unaware. Go ahead,
It's like 2 quick questions, sir.
Please, go ahead.
It's like, sir, War Arya says, Salakia, sir, what causes men and women to be introverts, and what advice do you give them on breaking that cycle?
Before I answer that, I got to get this precept before it drives me nuts, right? Okay. Give me, every man will have his own vineyard, right? Give me that precept. And then we'll read a little bit down about the COVID-19. I appreciate it. Arya.
The scripture about the angels was Hebrews 13:2.
Hebrews 13:2 is that precept for the angels, Malak, all right? Okay, let me hear the question again.
Gawar Arya says, Salakia, sir, what causes men and women to be introverts, and what advice do you give them on breaking that cycle?
Okay, what you might need is to give me some specifics. I can only answer you in general. I mean, I don't know why you have to break the cycle, right? No one has to be an extrovert, right? But now if you think this person has some type of problem, then I would need specifics, but you don't have to fix it. Right? If someone is, you don't have to dance on top of the table, right? Maybe this person just doesn't want to dance on top of the table and go around and shake everybody's hand like they're running for mayor. Maybe they don't want to do it. Maybe they're just quiet and want to shut their damn mouth and sit in the house. What's the problem? Other people, maybe they want to shake everybody's hand like they're running for office and be nice and dance on top of the table. That's who they are, right? There's no law against being an introvert. Right now, if really what you're talking about is not being an introvert, but someone who hides their light, someone who has a problem, someone who's depressed. Depression is different from being an introvert. That's a whole different thing. You get the point? So what you might need maybe you can get some counseling from your camp leader or from the captain that's over your region and find out exactly what your situation is. But if they're an introvert, just leave them the hell alone. Why bother? All right. Anything else?
Real quick. Officer Marah says, Shalom, sir. Micah chapter 6, verses 1-2. What can I use this as a precept for? And is the hills and mountain talking about governments?
All right, let's hear it. Someone find that precept for me. I'm gonna end with that. The one about the let every man have his own vineyard. Find that. I think vineyard is in it. Just tell me where it is so I can follow up with you. Go ahead and read it out. Read the one you have.
It's the book of Micah, chapter 6 and verse 1. Hear ye now that the Lord saith, arise, contend thou before the mountains, and let the hills hear thy voice.
That's definitely speaking about the government, all right, if that was his question. Was that it? Solid. Okay. Is it Jeremiah 8? Oh, let me see if this is it right here. Yeah, I think this is it right here. Jeremiah 8. Jeremiah, I can't hear. Yeah, let me know if we're good to go upstairs, all right? All right. You can call to Zion as well.
Okay, come on.
Oh man, it's right here. Any more questions online?
Real quick, Gawar Ariad, we reiterated on his question, sir. He says a lack of desire to gather with brothers or cohesive.
Lack of desire to gather with brothers. I mean, that's no sin. Maybe he doesn't want to get drunk with you every damn night.
Right.
You know what I mean, maybe you should let the brother be who the hell he is. What's your problem, Mike? We getting drunk out here. Something wrong with you. The hose is out there, not in here. The hose out there. You in here, hose out there. What's wrong with you? I'm calling it general about you. I'm asking. Man, you clearly have a problem because you don't want nothing to do with getting drunk and chasing hoes. That's fine. He doesn't have to do that. Right? Let someone be sober. Hell, they used to call that the designated driver. Leave him alone. Maybe you can call him when y'all can't get home. You know he home sitting there. Maybe he can come pick you the hell up before you crash my goddamn car into a deer. Like Ariana wouldn't did. Ariana need an introvert. Ariana's an extrovert. He need him an introvert that can come pick him the hell up and I can keep a car. All right? Maybe, leave him alone. He's fine. If the brother wants to stay in the house, it doesn't mean he has a problem. That's who he is. Let him be how the hell he is. And part of a brotherhood, being a brotherhood, part of it is not constantly hurting people over pushing them to be like you. Don't do that. Nobody has to be like you. We can be all kinds of different ways in here. All kinds of different people and personalities, and it makes us better that we are different. You understand? It makes us better. You have some brothers that you can call when there's a problem with your car. You can't call me about no car problem. I know that you don't never try. I know you don't ever say, Hyman, my pipe is leaking. I'm gonna say, what are you calling me for? You gotta call somebody else about that. But you can call me for other things, right? We don't all have to be experts in the same thing or have the same personality. We're better because we're different. Precept.
Many members of one body.
Are not ye many members, but all have different offices.
Right.
You are not all eyes. You are not all feet. You're different. And because you're different, we work together. Someone has to not be drunk all the goddamn time. Somebody. Now, is anybody stopping you from drinking? Obviously not. You crash a deer into my goddamn car. So obviously, ain't nobody stopping you. You doing the hell you want to do. Where am I at right now? Am I in class? Did I say that out loud? That was in my mind. And it came out loud. The point I'm just trying to make is this. Let people be how they want to be. All right? Leave them alone. Let them be how this brother don't want to go out. Call him on the phone, make sure he's okay. He's good to go, no sweat out. We going out this weekend. Y'all have a good time. And we will. No sweat. Everything is fine. You stay home and do that thing you do at home. And I'll go out and do the thing I do when I'm out. We'll come together in the van when it's time to go to camp. Now it's camp time. Who's in that van? Introverts, extroverts, deer killers, people who don't. Hold on. Did I say it out loud? People who don't kill deer. We all in the van going to camp, all of us. We in there together. Who else is in that van? Felons, people who have murdered people and went to jail for it and came out 15 years later, and people who went to college, right? People who have never stolen or harmed anyone. They're in that van too. You got doctors in that van, lawyers in that van, criminals in that van. All together going to camp. You get my point? And we're better because of it. Right. We're a better school, a better organization because of it, all right? Good to go. Anything else? I'm sorry. Yakar, how are we looking? We can roll? All right, let me wrap it up with this one right here. Yeah, somebody find a scripture for me, about the damn vineyards.
Come on.
You have it? Where is it at?
Exodus.
Not that. Every man has his own vineyard. Let me find it for you. If not, I'll answer one more question and then I'll wrap it if I can't find it. I can do it another day. Yeah, here you go, Ari. I texted me, he said he's sober. See that? See that, Pat? Okay, Salakia. He was sober. He wasn't drunk. Give him a hand. He was not drunk. He was not drunk that night. He just felt like murdering deer. Which really makes it worse. But I ain't gonna go on. Being sober makes it worse, but I gotta end this class. He was not drunk, y'all, all right? Stop saying he was drunk. Dang. I'm spreading rumors about the brother. Am I done here or not? I can't find it. Go ahead.
Isaiah 65:21.
Let me hear it.
To say, and they shall build houses and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and eat the fruit of them.
That's not that. It's every man. Every man is important. Go ahead. That's not it either. Every man, I can find it quickly. Unless you stop me with a question, yeah, I'm going to try to find this fast, all right?
No question about that, sir.
This is going into the topic earlier. We went through earlier about the Manu, what's that, say that word again? Manu mission. All right, selfishness, greed. Is it a Maccabee? Let me hear the one in Maccabee. Say that one.
So, book of First Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse 56. But as for such as were building houses, or have betrothed wives,
That ain't. Last shot, and I got to do it another day. Can't find it. All right, come on, go ahead.
Exodus 22, verse 5. If a man shall cause a field or vineyard.
That ain't it. It's in one of the other books of the prophets, like Jeremiah. I think it's damn near exactly in Jeremiah the 8th chapter. But I just can't find it. But I see vineyard in Jeremiah the 8th chapter. Here we go. Hold on. This is something Juliana will know where it is. Every man his own fig tree, his own vineyard. Go ahead. Daniela?
I had the fig tree.
Let me hear that.
This is Micah 4:4.
Go ahead.
But they shall sit every man under his own vine and under his.
I think that's it. Give him a hand, yo. To wrap this up. Micah what? Micah 4 and 4. Okay, here we go. You're going to read Micah 4 and 2, right?
Micah chapter 4, verse 2.
Hold up, wait. There's a precept you need for this, right? Okay. Bear with me. Someone else read Jeremiah 8. I think it's right. It says fig tree, right? Precept for this is Jeremiah 8 and 13. Okay, you're going to first read Daniela. Tell them where you are and read that.
Micah chapter 4, verse 2. And many nations shall come and say, Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, and to the house of God of Jacob, and he will teach us his ways.
So who are the many nations? Nations who are not Israelites. Many nations shall come to Israel and say, we will go to the Israelites, and the Israelites will do what to us or for us? They will teach us. They will show us how to be the Jews. Show us how to be the chosen people of God. Every country on the planet, every successful country has based their government on the Bible, has based their government on your book, because they know that the pursuit to power on this earth goes through the Bible. So in the beginning, they had to go through you. You showed them how to be Jews. You showed them how to be Christians. You showed them how to be Muslims. Keep going.
And we will walk in his path.
And we will walk in his path. Keep going.
For the law shall go forth of Zion.
For what?
For the law shall go forth of Zion.
For the law shall go forth of Zion. Keep going.
And the word of the Lord from Jerusalem.
Keep going.
And he shall judge among many people.
Keep going.
And
No, this is a good one, but this is not it. I gotta wrap this up. I think the one I want is in Jeremiah, the 8th chapter. I got to do it on Thursday. Also, I forgot. This Thursday, Lord allow, I will be in Memphis, Tennessee. Give Memphis a hand. I forget who's in charge out there. I know they're under Captain Kahad. I forget who the camp leader is out over the Memphis area. I'll be out there in Memphis this Thursday. Salaki, damn. Nashville, Tennessee. I'll be in Nashville, Tennessee this Thursday. Myself, Captain Ariel, will be out there too. He going. You get it on out there. Watch your cars now. He gonna be out there. I'm only joking. He's sober. We're gonna both be out in Nashville, Tennessee this Thursday. I'll find this precept for you then in Nashville. Daniela?
So like a fig tree moment, verse 4. I just started.
Read it quickly.
Verse 4. But they shall sit every man under his vine and under his fig tree.
Keep going.
And none shall make them afraid, for the mouth of the Lord of hosts has spoken.
That ain't it. That's a good one, but that's not it. Different topic, all right? With that, pass the class over to priest officer Daniel.
ISUPK security announcement.
Welcome, yes. Barak.
We at the ISUPK started out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General Yohana. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to show themselves to the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Taj, which is the commandment. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21. Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 through 10. Means tenth in Hebrew. My Asherah, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord give you, give to the Treasury Department. Priest fund, free will offer for priests, not mandatory, whatever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocation, which would be the Passover. It's still postponed. Check with your camp leaders to stay updated with it. If any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, start to wear all black. Black boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that, Imajim, which means stand. In the Israel, we're going to give one courtesy salute. Imajim Shabbat. Imajim Barak. Yahweh Yajmatah, Sar, mean turn. Sister Shaimadan, which means stand. Men of Israel, we're going to get a sister's one courtesy salute. Imajim Shabbat. Imajim Barak. Yahweh Shemar, Hashem Yahweh Yajmatah, class dismissed.